There's a photograph that almost every family has tucked away somewhere. A picture of your mother or grandmother wearing gloves, standing with a straight back, chin level, carrying herself with a feminine grace that seemed to draw everyone's attention. Who remembers that? To be honest, for years I thought it was simply something they were born with. But it wasn't. She actually paid for it. 6 weeks after school, in a department store, with an instructor hired to teach young girls how to carry themselves properly. And it wasn't just in the store. Open any women's magazine from 1955, and you'll find the very same advice. Chin up, shoulders back, stomach in. It was everywhere, and it was intentional. Now here's the part no one tells you. Today, the beauty industry sells confidence as a subscription, a posture corrector, a course that renews every month, because the real instruction never needed replacing. The version that actually worked had a name, took 90 seconds, and required nothing more than a wall. No subscription can compete with that. Today we're going to dive into those timeless habits that only our mothers seem to know. So if you've ever looked at a photo like that and wondered, how did she know how to stand like that? Subscribe, girls. This is a channel for women who still ask themselves that question. I have to be honest with you. For years, I thought my mother just had it. Some women just have it, I told myself. Turns out, no. She paid for it. 6 weeks after school, standing in front of a saleswoman at the department store. Now here's what I found. This wasn't some rare thing that only happened in one house on one street. In post-war America, charm and posture lessons were part of a world most women recognized, sold right there on the store directory, next to shoes and notions, or mailed straight to your front door. Sears had a course. Montgomery Ward had a course. A store called Sticks in St. Louis ran a 6-week posture and charm program in 1959 with more than 1,300 girls enrolled, all between 10 and 17. 1,300 in one store, in 1 year. And if a girl couldn't get to the store came to her. There was a correspondence course called the Dewberry Success Course. It arrived by mail, in a plain envelope, and inside was diet, exercise, posture, and beauty, laid out as a system, not a suggestion. A man named John Robert Powers, who ran one of the biggest modeling agencies in the country, taught it plainly. Bad posture wasn't a personality trait. It was a disadvantage in business and in life. And a disadvantage can be corrected. Shoulder blades back, core engaged, chin level. That was the whole lesson. So tell me something. If your grandmother or your mother ever put you against a wall and fixed your shoulders without ever once explaining why, put it in the comments. I have a feeling we're going to find out a lot of us had the same teacher. And the lesson itself was almost insulting in how simple it was. Let me show you exactly what it looked like, because once you see it, you'll never look at a doorway the same way again. Stand with your heels against the wall. Calves, seat, shoulder blades, and the back of your head all touching it at the same time. Chin level, not tilted up, not tucked down, just parallel to the floor. That was the whole test. 30 seconds against a wall, and you'd know exactly where you stood. Literally. I'll say something honest here. Watch women in a grocery store line today, myself included, some mornings, and you'll see a lot of slumped shoulders, a lot of necks craned forward over a phone. It's not that we got clumsier with age. It's that nobody ever stood us against that wall. Posture wasn't treated as something you either had or didn't either. It was progressive. You could start correcting it at 19 or at 90, and the schools taught it the same way either way. A habit you built, not a gift you were issued at birth. It's not complicated. It never was. 6 weeks, a wall, and a saleswoman who corrected your shoulders for free. Today, that same 6 weeks gets repackaged as something called presence, a coaching call, a workshop, $300, and somehow nobody ever tells you where to put your chin. But the wall and the mirror weren't the whole story. There was something else doing half the work, and you wouldn't have seen it under her dress. It was the foundations department, and the woman working there wasn't selling vanity. She was selling structure. That's literally what it was called, foundations. Tucked between hosiery and ladies' gloves, with its own fitting room and its own specialist. Her whole job was getting you into the piece underneath the dress, the long line bra, the girdle, the slip. The long line bra had a light boning built right into the seams. And here's the part that surprised me. It wasn't built for comfort. It was built so that slouching felt physically wrong. Every time you started to round forward, the garment pushed back against your spine. Not torture, a reminder stitched into the fabric, repeated 100 times a day until you didn't need the reminder anymore. Your own muscles had learned the job. I'll be honest with you, because I always am. Not every girdle from that era was kind to a body in heavy daily use, and some women wore them too tight for too long. The principle held even when the extremes didn't. Support worked, excess didn't. Now, everything I found like this, the original formulas, the real ingredients, and why they quietly changed over the years, I put into a guide called Mother's Secrets. If you're curious to see what our mothers and grandmothers relied on before the beauty industry reinvented everything, you'll find the link pinned in the comments and right on your screen if you'd rather scan it. But here's the question I couldn't let go of. Why did standing up straight actually change anything besides how a dress hung? So I went looking, and what I found has a name: embodied cognition. It's the idea that your body and your mind run on a two-way street. We already accept that feeling defeated makes you slump. What the research adds is the reverse. Pulling your shoulders back and lifting your chin actually shifts how you feel, not just how you look. The studies link a curved-over posture to lower mood and a sense of having no control, and an upright one to something closer to alertness and confidence. Now, I have to be careful here because I won't oversell you a fact. There was a famous claim a few years back, power posing, that standing a certain way changes your hormones. When other scientists tried to repeat that experiment, the hormone part didn't hold up. But the part that did hold up every time was simpler. You genuinely feel more in command when you're standing tall. Not your hormones, just you. Your mother never read a single one of these papers. She didn't need the study. She had the result, repeated every single morning for 40 years. It's not complicated. It never was. So if it was that simple, here's the part that actually bothers me. Why did it disappear? Not because someone in a boardroom voted it out. The real story is smaller than that, and almost an accident. In 1959, a man named Allen Gant Sr., at a mill in North Carolina, invented pantyhose. One piece, no garter, no girdle required to hold your stockings up. That single invention made the foundation garment optional at the exact moment the culture was already walking away from it. Women were heading into offices and universities in numbers nobody had planned for, and a 6-week course in posture and table manners started looking like a relic instead of preparation. The charm schools at Sears, at Montgomery Ward, most of them were gone by 1970. Not banned, just unattended. And here's the part I think explains everything else in this video. A lesson that costs nothing or close to it and works for 40 years has no reason to survive inside an industry that needs you back next month. Nobody had to bury it. They just had to replace it with something that required repurchasing and let the free thing fade on its own. All right, get up. I mean it right now, wherever you're sitting. I tried this every morning for a week before I ever brought it to you because I wasn't going to hand you something I hadn't tested on myself first. The first day, it felt strange, almost stiff. By day 4, it felt like standing. Find a wall. Heels first, touching it. Now your seat, your shoulder blades, and the back of your head. All 4 points against that wall at the same time. That's it. That's the whole test they ran back in 1959. If your head doesn't quite reach the wall without straining, don't force it. That's just where you're starting from today, not a failure. Now your chin. Don't tip it up, don't tuck it down, just let it sit level, parallel to the floor, like you're balancing a teacup on it. Pull your shoulder blades down and slightly back, like you're tucking them into your back pockets. Feel that little bit of effort right between your shoulders. That's the muscle that's been asleep this whole time. Hold it for 90 seconds. That's the whole protocol. Not 6 weeks, not a girdle, not a single dollar. 90 seconds against a wall you already own in a house you already live in. Come on, do it with me right now. Heel, seat, shoulder blade, head. 90 seconds. Then come back down here to the comments and tell me if you felt the difference. I want to know I'm not the only one. And while you're still holding that position, I want to say something to whoever just felt a little sting behind the eyes doing this. If you've spent years quietly believing you were just born clumsy or never had that natural grace some women seem to carry, I need you to hear this. It was never about nature. Not once. It was about a lesson that simply never made it to you, the way it made it to her. Maybe your mother forgot to pass it down. Maybe she didn't even know where she'd learned it herself. Either way, nobody handed you the wall, the chin, the 90 seconds. That's not a flaw in you. That's a gap in what you were given. You didn't fail at being elegant, girls. You were just missing the manual. The capacity was always yours. And that's exactly why I put together Mother's Secrets, the rest of the manual nobody gave you. The real ingredients, the real prices, the reasons things quietly changed, laid out plainly, the way I wish someone had laid it out for me. It's pinned in the comments below, and right there on your screen if you'd rather scan it. Go take a look when you're done standing tall. So go back to that photograph. The bus stop, the church pew, the spine like a yardstick. You know now it wasn't some gift she carried out of nowhere. It was a wall, a chin, 90 seconds, repeated until it simply became her. Girls, you don't have to chase that. You already recognize it because some part of you just stood up a little straighter without even thinking about it. That's not a test you passed or failed. That's just yours coming back. If you're one of my girls, subscribe, give this video a like, and tell me down in the comments what you're going to try first. And don't go too far. I found out something else they used to teach for free, and I'm not keeping that one to myself.